This episode is brought to you by Timely Presence. Grief doesn't end at the graveside, but most support does. Timely Presence helps families and friends continue showing up throughout the first year of loss with personalized remembrance gifts, timed to the days that tend to hurt most. The first holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, and quiet milestones when grief can feel especially heavy. Because the people we love deserve to be remembered beyond the funeral. And the people grieving deserve to feel supported long after the first wave of care has faded. Visit thetimelypresence.com to learn more. Welcome back to the Highlight Your Healing podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Roan. And today's conversation is one that I don't think we talk about enough. Grief from the lens of a healthcare provider. Because when we think about grief, we often think about the patient, the family, the loss itself. But we don't always talk about the people on the other side of it. Today, I'm joined by Sam, a family nurse practitioner who helps busy Christian women of color get to the root cause of their hormonal imbalances through a combination of functional nutrition and faith. But beyond her work, she's also bringing in a perspective that is deeply needed, what it looks like to experience grief from within a healthcare system that can sometimes feel broken. Sam, I just want to say thank you for being here and for the great work you're doing both inside and outside of the healthcare space.
Thank you so much, Shannon, for having me. I am super excited to be connecting with you today. My name is Sam. I have been a registered nurse for, maybe like 15 years. After a while, you just stop counting. And then I've been a nurse practitioner for going on 9 years. So it's really allowed me to be in the field and see things, right? See things that don't have a proper explanation, where not everything can be understood with evidence-based practices or thought processes. There's just some things that you have to connect, and it only comes with experience. And so God has really blessed me with the ability to go through those phases. Now, at the time when I was going through them, I'm like, God, this is tough. Why? What did you put me in this situation for? Why did I meet this person? What is the point of this? And so now at this phase in my life, I'm like, God, I see what you were doing. I see. And so that's where I felt like burnout is real. Burnout is real for anyone. It is real, especially if you live in America. Healthcare providers, it is tough when you have your back against the wall between insurance companies and you needing to meet a quota for a office, right? So you're seeing people every 15 minutes. You're seeing 30, 35, sometimes 40 people, depending upon your work, sometimes 50 people, 60 people. And I never liked the idea of cutting anybody short in terms of if I know something, if this could change their life, if they could change if what I say changes what they do, then it was worth the extra 5 minutes. It was worth the extra 10 minutes. And so I just felt like with the burnout, you are in this place where you're not feeling fulfilled. You came into the profession to help, to heal, right? But what it ends up being is a lot of management. And I didn't realize I was a manager. I didn't realize I signed up for the position to be a manager, right? Because we tend to put Band-Aids over bullet wounds, right? We're not getting to the root cause of the problem. There's a quote, his name is Carl Jung, and it says, "The healer suffers first, then comes back with the medicine." I had to go through a lot of things myself. And honestly, I will say it's probably not nearly as bad as what other people have had to go through. But with each experience, I've been able to identify things that needed to be connected in what I deemed as a system that is broken, right? And it doesn't mean that it's perfect. And the two can marry, but I feel like with incorporating functional nutrition, not just functional medicine, but functional nutrition really gets to the root of the problem without you having to do all of the fancy stuff. You don't need all the supplements and all the expensive labs. Those are cherry on the top, right? So this is only recently that God is like, okay, you got to shift to the hormones. I was just focusing on gut health because if you address gut health, everything else will start to fall in line. But the more I started connecting with other women and having more clients, I realized, okay, no, I need to focus more on this hormonal health. Still incorporate the gut health, but the hormonal health is really important. And I will say this, and then I'm going to let you talk. Like I said off the mic, what we did to get to this place in our 30s plus kind of was on survival mode. And it was on a lot of things that we learned. Now we're in the process of unlearning things. And we
Hmm.
have to understand that we can't use those same tools and resources if we want to continue at the rate that we're going. Or maybe some of us don't want to, right?
Right.
Because a lot of us are alpha females at home and alpha females at work. It's leading to a lot of burnout. It's leading to a lot of women, especially Black women, who are now being diagnosed with ADHD and fibromyalgia. This is fibromyalgia month. And so chronic stress, myocardial infarctions, heart attacks, strokes, chronic pain that's you can't find a reason why otherwise, fibroids, endometriosis. Women store a lot of trauma in the womb.
Hmm.
Not to mention, we were just never taught. I went to nursing school and I could still be like, what I've learned now far exceeds what I learned in nursing school.
Right.
So it really is, if this is my opportunity to help other women, and this is why I get so excited, because if I have the opportunity to help other women reclaim their health, not face burnout anymore, but actually get the results that they want, feel like they're being heard, you're not going to tell me that they're not going to then teach their daughter how to understand her cycle so that she's not you know what I mean? So she's not burning out by the time she's 30.
Right.
So this is definitely more than about me, and I'm so glad to be in the position to do that.
Yeah. And one, just thank you so much for showing up for women like myself and others. Where do you feel like maybe the healthcare system is falling short, not just for the patients, but maybe for providers too?
I don't want to say there's so many places, but you really can't expect somebody to see someone in 15 minutes and do a good job. You can't. What happens is you're checking off boxes and then you're like, okay, follow up. Let's follow back up in 3 months. You probably wouldn't have to follow up so soon if you had a longer time frame to actually get into what is going on. And then when you do, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, if I'm seeing you every 3 months and I'm not doing my job, I need
Right.
to see you less. That means I've helped you, I've empowered you. You now have better tools and resources. You know more so you can do better so that the next time I see you, you're like, oh my God, 20 pounds down. Oh my God, my my blood sugar is balanced now. That's what feeds me. And so just really giving people the time to do what it is that they came into the profession to do.
Right. So hormonal imbalance is kind of at the center of the work you do, right?
Yeah,
How often are you seeing grief or that unprocessed stress show up as a root cause of what your patients are experiencing physically?
all the time. All the time. It just manifests in a different way and it's just given a different diagnosis. But when you go back to the root of it, unresolved trauma, childhood, physical, mental, spiritual abuse, especially in the Black community, you have so many KPs that are like, I'm good, you
Done.
know, especially in the Bible Belt line. So it just it presents at a different way, but it's so interesting because I didn't post this yet, but I literally created some content today and it was along the lines of what your peace costs you in the end. Every time you decide to keep the peace, every word that you swallow, every bullet that you bite, every tongue that you bite, you know what I mean? Every time you save face in front of other people, your body is getting hit every time. And it doesn't know then what to do with that energy.
Right.
What they're going to tell you is, oh, well, coming from a lower socioeconomic status, or because you're Black, or because you're female, or because genetics plays a much smaller percentage on someone's overall health than what we've been led to believe. We're just
Right.
being told, oh, your daddy has this, life sentence. And I I stop my patients all the time when they want to tell me about their blood pressure or their diabetes, and they're like, "Well, I knew I was gonna get." You could stop right there because your genes. Everyone has the same genes, right?
Right.
Spoiler alert: everybody has cancer genes. It's
Mm-hmm.
what you do that triggers the cancer genes.
Mm,
Same thing with these other conditions. It's what you do, what you're eating, your relationships. Do you have meaningful relationships? Do you have healthy outlets? Or are you alone? Are you um, withdrawn? Do you have issues with depression? What is your gut health like? These are all of the
mhm.
things that no one is going to sit in a 15-minute and discuss with somebody.
Right. So that 15 minutes, most of the time we show up to the doctor, we don't even know what questions to ask. That, they're asking the most basic questions. And for me, just a personal experience, I just found, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not saying this is what actually happened, but in my own grief journey, I noticed things started spiking up or different health related things started to spike in the midst of grief.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's cortisol. Listen, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not saying that's exactly what it was, but I just noticed that there were things that I didn't know that was happening to my body while I was going through my own grief journey, and those things started to pop up. Is there anything you can talk about around that with stress and grief and then other health related things that can be tied to that?
Yeah. So in terms of in terms of grief, I feel like it's so multidimensional, right? Because someone may grieve differently than the next person.
Right.
Some people grieve for years, or some people don't even start the grieving process because they haven't stopped. They're just
Mhm.
like, I just got to keep going. I just got to keep going. That's your way of coping, but you're still not actually addressing it. Either way, either ends of the spectrum, I feel like if it's not a healthy way and a healthy release, and then you find a way to, I don't want to say go on, but if you don't find a healthy way to incorporate that into your life, then either side, you're going to be imbalanced. And that's what diseases are. It is a dis-ease. It's an imbalance in your equilibrium. Something is off there. And so how that shows up, we could talk about PCOS and
Mhm.
fibroids and endometriosis. We know that all of those conditions are estrogen dominant, where you
Mhm.
have excess estrogen. And so what it does is it causes an imbalance. There is a dis-ease to your body. And so and even PCOS, it's not a one size fits all condition, but often it is treated that way. Take the spironolactone, take the metformin. When you want to get pregnant, we're going to try this.
I've been told, "Oh, we'll put you on birth control." It's
Yeah,
like, "What?"
which which actually affects your hormones even more.
Mhm.
And so that's a whole nother scam in itself. But
Mhm.
um so, so even with the PCOS, right? when you when you experience levels of trauma, and it could be various, it really has to do with the individual, right? Their level of adversity, right? But even with higher levels of adversity, it's like you are learning to cope, but on a fight or flight mode. Still not. You're functioning, you can function, but
Mhm.
it's not healthy. But it's going to take you to what you need to take to get to next because your body loves you and it's going to take care of you regardless. Oh, you got to go to this. All right, I'm going to make sure boost the cortisol levels up so you can make it through this. And so in terms of grief, what I've noticed is this is why therapy is so important. And I'm so glad that I believe we are out of the idea of therapy being taboo. I
Mhm.
remember when I was speaking to one of my parents and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to therapy. And they're like, therapy? What? Why you go to therapy? And I'm like, so that I don't have these issues anymore.
Absolutely. It is in the Black and brown community, it is not something that we do. It's like,
Yeah.
don't go out there telling your business, our business, and putting our stuff out there. It's like, it's not something. that we do, but it is so needed.
Yeah, yeah. And then you know what you find, and I've noticed this with a lot of my clients who are doing, and I will say this because on the journey that I take with my clients, I literally walk with them hand in hand. I talk to them every day,
Uh-huh.
multiple times a day. And we are not just like, hey, okay, so we're gonna do this, we're gonna cut this out of your diet. Let's follow back up next week. I'm like, okay, so how did the kids like the recipe? Did they help in the kitchen? What is your mom saying? Because, your mom is now saying, you know what? Because you started changing your health, now I'm incorporating this into my diet, or now my plate is looking a little bit more green.
Mhm.
And just even with the grief, I started saying this last year and I will continue to say it, it has to be you. You have to be the person to make the change. You can't wait for anybody else to do it for you because there's no one out here who is going to do it for you. You have to come to yourself one day where you're like, I'm done. You have to make the change. And when you make the change, everybody around you starts changing.
Right.
And so when that happens, that's when you have parents who are now like, yeah, I looked up a therapist in my neighborhood. Oh, okay, that's nice. Because in terms of therapy, you can call, you can't schedule that appointment for somebody else.
Right.
They have to be willing and ready to do it themselves. So, yeah.
Wow, that was a whole lot to unpack, right? We talk a lot about faith, right? How has your faith helped you navigate, what you've experienced, and then two, how you help your clients as you're helping them through their journey?
Mm, that is really good. First thing I would say is I had to come correct. I had to be like, God, check my heart. Please give me a heart for your people. I wouldn't have prayed that prayer if I wasn't in my Bible to say, I'm going to just start off with that. Once I started saying, God, give me a heart for your people, oh, I just became so much more of like an empath.
Mm.
Um, and I started really extending so much more grace and incorporating my faith, going through my own things to then say, okay, I know what this feels like. I may not have um, endometriosis, but I know what it's like to keep my mouth shut. I know what it's like to feel like, well, it's too late for me. I can't change this now because I've already created this situation. If I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. How's it going to get done? We find so many more commonalities with each other when we start to just soften our heart.
Right.
And so through my faith, I've really been able to listen to that quiet voice, listen to the still voice, right?
Right.
That means not necessarily jumping to every trend that's going on, not necessarily getting feedback from a million and one people when the person that I need to get an opinion from, okay.
Mhm.
And so because of that, this is so interesting because today I was thinking to myself, how could I explain to someone when you're getting that fear and the enemy is trying to tell you, no, you can't,
Mhm.
versus the inner voice and having some discernment.
Right.
And so one of the things that came to mind is you got to get in there. You just got to
Yeah.
keep doing it. And then every time you listen and then you see what happens later, or you don't see what happens later, then you're like, okay, okay, I get that. Okay. Versus if you just continue to ask other people and it just brings more confusion in your mind when he's like, just listen to the still voice. So
Right.
me incorporating my faith and actively practicing listening to that inner voice allows me to empower other women to do the same thing. So when they need to make those decisions in their marriage, in their finances, with their children, with their job, I have a lot of women who are unemployed. And I thought to myself, I was like, but God, you told me to go and help these women. These women are unemployed. How am I supposed to get paid?
Right.
That, granted, that is worldly thinking.
Mhm.
That is worldly thinking. Because right after that, God was like, no, this is exactly where you need to be. When you are in those situations and God is like, this is where I need you to be because when the miracle happens, I need them to know it's me.
Right.
It's not anybody else but me. And so I was like, God, you're absolutely right. That when you start thinking that way, that's what my clients are also able to incorporate. And because of that, it is a different level of empowerment. They're not just empowered physically, they're empowered spiritually. So when somebody can try to come against you or shake you or make you question your grounding, baby, you can't.
You
Go
can't.
find somebody else. You go find somebody else.
Find somebody else to play with.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's how I do it.
I love that. I love that. So how do you we talk about burnout, right? And just making sure you're always taking care of yourself. How do you care for yourself so you don't carry everything home with you?
That's I feel like a part of being a nurse practitioner and being a nurse for years, it's something that I had to build up to. You know what I mean? Because like I remember having a mom and she lost her baby. She was she was 2 weeks away from delivering her baby. And I went in there and I just did the best job that I could caring for her. And not saying that I was pregnant at the time because I had just found out that I was pregnant. Having to then say, okay, this this stays here and I have to go home and live my life and not bring that. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It is challenging sometimes because you feel for those people that you care for. If you truly are in the profession to care, right? But um, I will say this. There was a happy ending because I left that job and when I came back, I just so happened to pass by and her husband called out to me and I was like, and he was like, yeah, she's here. We're having a baby. And oh God, when I tell you that was like 15 years ago. Not
Wow.
15
And it
years ago,
still
maybe like
sticks with you. Yeah.
it still sticks with me. And so I can't say that those things ever leave. But
Right.
ways that I try to incorporate self-care so that I don't get burned out is, and I will contribute this to cycle syncing. Like I'm really helping my clients with cycle syncing right now because that allows them to feel like I don't have to be on all four cylinders all the time. With my menstrual cycle, I know that I'm going to be more reflective. I'm going to be more reserved. I'm going to be journaling. I'm going to be doing yoga, Pilates. And so these aren't things that I just tell people. These are things that I'm actively doing, you know,
Right.
versus when you are in your, your follicular phase, your spring phase, you're getting a little bit more energy. You're like, okay, I'm feeling myself a little bit again. That is the
Mm-hmm.
time when you start like preparing, start doing things that are creative. And so I use my cycle every month. And I identify the things that I naturally am gravitating to. And I will tell you, I use an app, the Lively app. First of all, I stopped using apps like years ago because I was like, all the stuff with sharing people's
Mm-hmm.
information about that. And I was just like, ugh. I was real cautious about purchasing this one. But one of my instructors recommended it. And I trust her. So I was like, you know what? Let me
Mm-hmm.
try this and see. The things that I was doing when I actually opened up the app and I started, you know, playing around with it and seeing what they were recommending, I was doing those things. I was doing the journaling. I was isolating myself. I was going for a walk. I was eating dark chocolate. I was eating chickpeas. Those are the things that I want my clients to be able to do because I know that it's feasible because I do it, because other
Mm-hmm.
women do it. You just haven't had the knowledge and the resources to know how to do it. So, okay, going back. Journaling, using my cycle to identify what works for me. I love a good scrub. Once a week, I'll do
Mm-hmm.
a nice exfoliating body scrub. My nails are not painted right now, but I would get back into, painting the nails, and just spending time with myself. I'm like, hey, told my husband, I'm like, I need a good 30 minutes. Say less.
Right.
It is okay to ask. It is okay. But when
Yes.
you ask, then you need to take the help.
And don't be
Okay.
afraid to ask. Like, I know it's so hard for us to ask for help, including myself at times. But like you said, when you ask, like actually go and take the time. Like don't worry about, oh, I got to put these dishes in the dishwasher, or no, take the time for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. 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 So, those kind of things like yoga. I love hot yoga. And those are things that I love. You know what I mean? That Samantha loves. What are the things that you like to do? The things that you liked to do before you became a mom, before you became a wife, before you became a caregiver of older parents. What did you like to do? Sometimes that means listening to music from the 2000s, like the early 2000s. That there's a different level of nostalgia that you get that just like brings endorphins, that makes you feel good, and you're like, I actually like, it's not that I missed that life, but I loved those memories. Now let's go make some more.
So, if you had to leave women with one thing, how to move forward, how to support themselves, whether it's nutrition, like you said, going out, doing yoga, giving yourself permission to rest, is there anything else that you would like to leave the listeners today with moving forward? What does that look like?
Yeah. Last year, when I started moving forward, I was afraid. This is not even what I was going to say, but this is what's coming up. I was
Mm,
afraid because I was concerned about what would people think? What am I going to lose if I move forward? But when my body started responding in a way in which it did, I said, I can't afford to not move forward because my body is not going to, I think it reached its capacity, right?
right,
What you have inside of you, the gift you have inside of you has reached its capacity of the little pot that you put it in. You now have to replant. Or else what happens is your vines just coil around each other and they get intertwined, but you stunt your growth. And as a mother and a wife, that makes me also think, well, what example would I be leaving? Right? Did I want my kids to play it safe? No, I don't think so. So one thing is start with you. Just start with you. Two, take small intentional steps. That is what I tell my clients. Take small intentional steps because when you create momentum, you will create the compound effect. But if you start, stop, you're not going anywhere fast. You have to build momentum with small intentional steps. And for me, what that looked like was, what do you have in your house?
mm,
It wasn't, okay, because we love to say, I just need something to pick me up. Like I just need a fresh start. But then we equate the what we need with physical things. You know what I mean? Or spending money to then give an instant gratification. But when we need the momentum to continue going, we don't have it because it wasn't on solid ground, right? And so I started just dealing with whatever I had in my house. That meant if my husband had some weights or if he had something, I was using that. Or I would just do the stairs. Or I have herbs, okay? So I'm going to make sure that I'm drinking my herbs. I would make sure if I say that I want a soft life redefined because I love to talk about that. Um the reason why I say that is because not everybody's going to marry an Italian man. That's not my life, right? So if that's not my life, as per social media, am I not enough? So
mm,
I said, what can I do to redefine what I want my life to look like instead of me being upset about things not going the way that I want them to go? So I had to start with what was in my house. That meant we were putting things in order. Last year I started the work. This year I said we're doing organization, clean up house, clean up house. If we want more, then we need to take care of what we have. Same thing with our bodies. If we want more, if we want to produce more, if we want more clients, if we want more opportunities, if we want a better job, what are you doing here with what it is that you've been given so that you can get more? So, small intentional steps, work with what you have, clean up your pantry, and use the Yuka app. I love the Yuka app. Um, there are tons of different apps out there, but you scan it, you scan like a product, the label, and then it identifies what works. Like it gives you like a B, C, D, and F rating based upon the nutritional facts. And then it gives you healthier options. So for some people, they just need the accountability, right? So once you see it, you're like, I don't know. So those are some ways.
I love that. And we're going to need the links to those apps. But I love what you said. Start with what's in your house. Thank you so much, Sam, for bringing such a unique perspective that so many women don't get to hear often. So before we close, can you share with our listeners where they can connect with you and learn more about the amazing work you're doing?
Hey, this is this is always the part where I'm like, eek. Which is funny. It's funny and it's not at the same time because we always want to, withdraw when we're talking about ourselves. But I mean, I'm on TikTok, and TikTok is where it's at for my people. Most of my people are on TikTok. It's Wellness Evolving Health Coaching. It's the same thing for Instagram. I am on Threads, and I love a good little chit chat. That's how we connected. Um, and so I did start a school app community because I have actually, I have it in my purse. Hold on. I have a journal that I created. It's called the Faith and Food Journal. So something was just like, I really, really want to do something for the people that have purchased the book. And so I created this community. Today is day 31 of the 60-day Faith and Food Challenge, where I'm essentially walking women through healthier eating, health tips that you just don't get from your provider. So that's where you can also find me on the school app. And today is actually our liquid fast. It's their first time doing a liquid fast. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. So those are some places you can find me. I am doing hormonal clarity calls. So it's like a one-on-one consultation to identify your symptoms, your cycle, and then identifying what your body needs from you in this season, because it will always change. But yes, thank you so much, Shannon, for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me to pour into your community.
No, thank you so much for being here. And if you all want to connect with Sam, all of her information will be in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, do me a favor, share it. Send it to a friend, a family member, somebody in your circle who needs to hear that healing and purpose are still possible for them. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, because trust me, we have more incredible guests and conversations coming your way. And if you haven't already, like and leave us a review. It helps more women find this show and join this community. And until next time, keep highlighting your healing.